stuff. So this is what you're going to put in. So we did step number 3 as well. We tested to see if the Java was installed correctly. It was. At a DOS prompt, we typed in Java C, and we got the usage information. So now we're on to step number 4, the most exciting part of the install, downloading and configuring the Android SDK. So I got another link, and I'm going to purposely use these links instead of my bookmarks because I want to make sure the links work. As of October of 2011, we were up to the SDK version 4. So this is the one we're going to focus on. I'm going to open up my Internet Explorer again. I'm going to paste in here that link from the lecture. And what do I have in here? I've got Java Android 4.0 platform. Very nice, very nice. And I'd like to download it. So what I'm going to look for is the download link. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. The visually impaired on YouTube. There we go. So up there in the left-hand corner it says Android SDK Starter Package. Alright, so this is going to give us a downloadable SDK components. Adding this, adding that. I'm going to go through these instructions for you so you don't really have to worry about it. But what we want to do is download. And so if I click on that download button, I see the download, the Android SDK on the left-hand part of the screen. I'm on a Windows box. So and what you're going to download here, well, let's see. Oh, look at brand new. Wow, last time I did this, they had a zip version of it, and they have a recommended. Oh, no, this is a new one here. That's an executable version of it. I'm gonna actually not do the recommended one because recommended one, I don't trust the Windows installers. And I'm used to it being in a zip file, and you just take the zip file, you unzip, and you add it to the path, and add it to your Explorer window, and you change the path. So I'm gonna select this option here, and I'm gonna download this SDK version that's in a zip file, and I'm just gonna take and add it to my desktop. You may select, if you'd like, the EXE option and see what that does, but I'm not a huge fan of automation. I'd rather do it myself. And as this is downloading, I'm going to take a look at bottom here and see what this is all about. Android, the zip's now downloading. Okay. And instructions don't look like they've changed much since the last version of this. Okay. My instructions are going to be working with the zip file. You may try the Windows file. If you do that, you might be able to skip some of the steps in my install. Yeah, the Mac is going to be a zip file as well, it appears. So it's going to be more consistent if I stick with the zip. So I think they made it because people didn't like to unzip files. Who knows? I'm going to minimize the screen because I can't. Oh, there's my download right there. I'm at 62%. See, that seems pretty small. So what are my instructions going to say? Well, if I'm downloading the zip file, which I've just done, you're going to unzip the Android API into any directory that you're going to want. And then you're going to add the Android tools directory to your path, just like we did in step number 2. And then we're going to test it by typing in from a DOS prompt, Android, and see if a GUI shows up. Shows to the screen. So we're on step number 4. We're downloading and we're installing the Android SDK version 4. And as of the making of this video, this is December 2011, so October, November, December, it's a couple months old. We've got fresh, hot off the presses, the 4.0. Probably going to work with tablets as well as the phones, is what I'm thinking. This is my first exposure to the 4.0 version. I was working with a previous version last time, so it'll be interesting to see what the changes are. One obvious change already was that exe file option for the install. But we're downloading the API in terms of the zip file, so we're going to need to unzip it, and then we're going to have to add the Android tools directory to the path. As you've seen before, it was actually already added. So go back here and see what's going on. Download complete. So I'm going to go OK. Now I'm going to do a simple unzip. You might have a different compression utility on your computer. I'm just going to use the old Windows XP zip utility by just going extract all. You could have a different version. It doesn't really matter what you unzip it with. It's going to unzip and put it on my desktop here. And what I'm going to get is this file for the SDK Windows. Oops, I'm just going to put it out here because it's a folder inside of a folder, actually. Minus this out a little bit here so we can see what we're doing here. Yeah, I've got a folder inside of a folder, so I'm going to copy it out here. What is this? This is the one I want, so I'm going to throw this one away. Actually, I can throw the zip file away too. So I've thrown everything away. Now I have the uncompressed folder, and in the folder I have a tools directory, SDK manager. This is the contents inside of the file that I have unzipped. So this is where I said I'm going to change this name here. The name of the file is Android SD. The name of the file. The name of the directory is Android SDK Windows. I'm going to take and change this and just call it Android. And in this folder, I pulled out the other folder that was inside the original folder. Well, you know, when they zip stuff, you get a folder inside of a folder. What you really want is the Android folder that's got the tools subdirectory. The tools subdirectory is the one that's going to have all of the stuff that you're going to need to use. So we're going to add the tools subdirectory to the path, actually. Looks like they've kept the AVG manager. I'll go over that in a few minutes, and the SDK manager. I'll go over that in a few minutes. But now I have tools here, which is nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put this directory into my Java folder. So I make those a little smaller so I can find the Windows Start menu here. So I'm going back to Windows Start. I'm going to go to the Explorer. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to find my program files, Java, and I could stick Android in here if I wanted to, or I could stick it maybe in program files along with everything else. I think I'll stick it in program files actually, so I can tell that it's been installed. So I'm going to find it again. I think I put it on the desktop somewhere. Here it is. Move it over here so you can see it all in one pane. There we go. A little bigger again. So I'm just going to drag and drop, I guess. So I'm going to take this here. I'm going to program files out here. And let's see. Okay, good. Yeah, this view is bothering me. I'm going to change the view to details. There we go. I like that better. It's a little smaller so I can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take the Android directory and I'm just going to drag it out here, move it out here. So now it should show up in the list underneath here. Here it is, Android right here. So I've got it under program files. I've got Android, and then I've got the tools directory. I got everything I need right here. So now, and let me just make sure actually. So I'm going to go into program files. I'm going to make sure it's in my path correctly because I can't remember if I put it in the Android directory or if I put it under Java last time I did this. So this is a good test. So we have to do the same thing we did with Java. Actually, we have to take and add the Android tools directory to our environment variables. So I'm going into Settings, Control Panel. I'm going to click on the System icon. And I've gotten to the Control Panel here. Double clicking on System. In the System window, I'm going to click on the Advanced tab. I'm going to go to the bottom where it says Environment Variables. Click on that. I'm going to find the path. Here's the path. Click on Edit or double click on it. And let's see where I put it actually. Oh, I didn't put it under program files, so I'm going to make sure I can change this. I put it under C:\Android\tools. So I'm going to make this sure this path is correct then. I like to capitalize stuff too, so I'm going to make this capital. C:\program files \Android\tools. And then I put a semicolon at the end. It can happen. You can put it after Java. You can put it before Java. Not quite sure how I guess last time I downloaded the Android stuff first, maybe, and I put in Java second. Doesn't matter what order as long as it appears in the path. It'll be just fine. So at this point, I'm going to go OK. And so if I look at it, I'm going to have both under program files, Java, JDK, bin, and I have also program files, Android tools in my path, and the rest of the stuff in my path. Do not remove the rest of the stuff in your path, just add the new information at the end of the path, which I've done. If you remove everything in the path, some of your other programs aren't going to work. So I'm going to press on OK, I'm going to press on OK. And this will actually be a better test than the Java because I've changed the location. It's actually in a new location. So let's see if the instructions work for the test. This is under the assumption that we don't need this window anymore. Under the assumption that nothing has changed between the versions. Empty this trash out. So clean things up as I go along. So I'm going to open up a DOS prompt now, and I'm going to go back to my instructions to see, well, how am I supposed to test this? Let's take a look here. If I go back to the instructions are going to say we've downloaded the JDK, or excuse me, the SDK for Android. We've unzipped it. We've copied it into the directory, any directory. We added the tools directory to our path. Here's an example of if you want to put it under Java, Android. It doesn't really matter where you put it, by the way. Now we're going to test the path with exiting into DOS and typing in Android, and a GUI should appear. Let's see what happens. Let's see if a GUI appears. So I've got an empty DOS prompt here, and I'm going to type in Android. Did I spell that right? Oh, well, I didn't get a GUI this time. Instead, or actually, let me give it a few minutes. I might get the GUI. Instead, what I have is looks like a command line in Java, Android Java. Oh, interesting. Okay, good. This is, you're not going to get a GUI. In fact, if you type in Android, you're going to get the command statements. It's now a command. In the past, they had a little GUI that showed up. I believe it's the manager. If you go into here, you can test the GUI a couple of different ways, actually. I'm going to go back into the directory here and show you what I'm talking about. In what I just ran was Android. What the test was basically to see if these files were accessible. In Tools, there's a program in here called, well, it's an android.bat file now is what it is. In the old days, it used to open up a GUI. Now it just gives you the command line tool. That's the file that I just ran from DOS, and it appeared to work. Which means the path is set up correctly. I can access it from a different directory outside of the Android directory. If I go in here, I'm going to see a bunch of tools in the platform directory. Actually, I'm going to see it right here. I'm going to see the SDK manager. If I double click on that, it's going to be a program that I'm going to run, and it's going to bring up a GUI, and this is the GUI actually that you're going to expect to see. But let's not run the SDK manager yet, because we can run this from Eclipse and configure things automatically for us. So I'm going to press OK on that, get rid of it, but make sure that both of these items actually run. If you're getting error messages, and this is the Android Virtual Device Manager, we're going to see that later as well. It's just going to open up a GUI and allow you to make configuration changes. So the Android tools appear to be working on my computer. So I can pretty much have confidence and say that I'm done installing the Android operating environment, especially when I typed in Android in a batch file. Actually, the batch file looks like it's running Java, actually, but I was able to get at it, so I will assume that it is working. So I'm going to go back and now work on my next step. The next step is to install Eclipse. Oh no, it's for Android. Well, okay. Looks like we've broken it out in a couple. I broke it out in a couple different sections. We're going to install the SDK packages for Android first, and then I'm going to do Eclipse second. I rewrote this recently, and I just caught myself on that. So the better order is to install the SDK packages for Android. So in step number 8, so step number 7, I've tested my path by typing in Android, and the GUI appeared. I'm going to change this for the next time. Say and a GUI or some DOS output should appear. In the older version, the GUI appeared. In this version, DOS output appears. So we can verify that and make sure that that step actually worked correctly. Now we're going to install the SDK packages. So we're going to double click on the SDK manager. Well, that's what I just had out a few minutes ago. click on Install on the default sections, and the items will be downloaded from the internet. So you'll need a connection for this in order for it to work. Download test takes some time, approximately an hour. Well, let's see. Let's see how long this is actually going to take. So we're going to go back to the SDK manager and click on Install in the default sections. So that means actually, let me try something here real quick. SDK manager. Yeah, okay, that's not going to work. Alright, I thought maybe I could do it from a DOS prompt. There's probably a shortcut you could probably take from it. So I'm going to just go back in and find it. Make this bigger so you guys can see it. Start menu, Explorer. Let's go back where we were a few minutes ago. Go into Program Files, Android. We want to run this guy right here, sdkmanager.exe. So I'm going to run that. It's an old Windows message. We get the GUI here. And nothing appears to be installed. Not installed, not installed. So status here says not installed on a bunch of this stuff here, but the Android tools are, but we need the platform. So I'm going to take and click on that button there. You know what, to be on the safe side, because I don't know what I'm going to be using for most of my demos, I'm going to go backward compatibility as well. I'm just going to install everything. I'm going to click on all these boxes here, and 41 packages. This might actually take a while, so we'll see how long it takes. I might have to pause the video because it's going to be too boring for you guys to watch this. But what I've done is, just to be safe, I'm just going to, I've clicked on everything. I've clicked on everything possible here, and the status is going to be uninstalled. So put that back so you can kind of see that. What we really want is the current 4.0, but sometimes when I see some examples on the internet that are using a current API, a 3.2 API, which a lot of them are out there actually are using 3.2. If I install a 3.2, that means I can run those types of projects as well. So I'm going to click on this button here. It says install, it's supposed to say install 41 packages, and update install. Okay, this is good, API level. Okay, this is good. So if I click that, and I have to accept, looks like I have to accept accept all. I'm just going to click on accept all here, which means I'm going to accept agreements to download everything. And I pressed on install. And on the bottom of the screen, you can kind of see the status indicator. Status indicator is downloading SDK platform tools. 38%, 41%. Okay, this is going to take some time. Just the way that it's running right now. The fact that the last time I did this, and now what I'm looking at now is this bottom of the screen here where it says downloading. I'm actually downloading about half a dozen APIs. Ooh, something killed here. Run manually if needed. Okay. Looks like I'm getting some static some status information from the log. I'm going to close the log here. If you see those little windows pop up, maybe it is a good thing that I'm sitting on this window for a few minutes. If you see those little windows popped up, it means that perhaps one of the installs failed. That one actually failed. It was probably a depreciated library or something. It looked like it was something with the ADB. So, just a heads up on that. And that was one of the older APIs actually. That was one of the original ones down here. I didn't have to go back that far when I clicked on these guys down here, but I did. And so some of that stuff's going to be outdated. Maybe it's not going to be supported anymore. And so you might get some of those little pop-up screens with warning messages. And that warning, I didn't leave it up long enough, but it warned me about something that didn't download correctly, and it said something in red about manually installing it. So I'll just keep that in the back of my mind. And it was at the beginning, so it was probably like 1.0 or something like that. So as you can see on the bottom of the screen, it says 4 minutes left. It's like for one package. So, and I've got, as I was mentioning before, I like half a dozen of these packages downloading, and the 4s are actually kind of big. So I'm going to pause the video at this point and call this one part 1, and then, because this is going to take an hour. It may even take more than an hour to download, actually. So at this point, I'm going to pause the video and wait until yours is completely downloaded, which means you're going to have to sit for like an hour or so patiently. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to try patiently without touching anything so I can not mess anything up. And then when mine's done, I'm going to come back and start part 2 of this install video sequence. And we will take it further from there. So come back when your download is done and start part 2, and then we'll be installing Eclipse, and then we'll be installing the Android inside of Eclipse, and then we'll be running Hello World to test it out. Okay, time for a break for me and a break for you.